Welcome to the next stage of your Carnatic journey, the Krithis. Krithis are the main format of Carnatic compositions. If you watch a Carnatic concert, you will notice that most of the songs sung by the artist are Krithis. Now, all the earlier songs that we have learnt, right from the Notuswarams to the Geetams to the Swarajatis and Varnams, they are also Carnatic compositions, but they play a bigger role in the foundational stage of our journey, right? They help us develop so many different skills. They help us understand the basics of a raga. They help us understand how to use gamakas. They help us develop our voice technique with akaram and so on. So this is going to be a very new and exciting journey for us, where we explore a variety of krithis in different ragas, different talas, by different composers and so on. But let me mention one thing here. Krithis is not a beginner level course, okay? So before you start learning krithis, there are some prerequisites that you need to have. So let me just quickly tell you what are some of the skills that you should already have before you start. First of all, you should be very comfortable with your varisais. So your Sarali varisai, Janta varisai, Dhatu varisai and so on. You should be able to sing them in 3 to 4 speeds with proper Shruti and Talam. Secondly, your Alankarams. You should have practiced them in at least 5 to 6 different ragas so that you have a strong grip on all the 12 Swarasthanas. And the third point is the gamakas. Now before you start singing krithis, it is very important for you to understand all the basic gamakas of at least 5-6 different ragas. So this is usually achieved by doing gamaka exercises and by learning the Geetams, Swarajatis and Varnams in a very detailed manner. So these are some of the basic skills that you need before you start learning krithis. So let us jump right in and meet the two beautiful krithis that we are going to learn in this course. The first one is called Parvati Patim in Raga Hamsadvani, and the second one is Gajananayutam in Raga Chakravagam. And both of them have been composed by Sri Muthuswami Dikshitar. So let's take for example Parvati Patim. Now before we start singing the krithi, first we should be comfortable with the Arohanam and Avarohanam of the raga, right? So this is in Raga Hamsadvani. So what is the Arohanam Avarohanam? First, I want you to sing it with completely plain notes, okay? No glides, no connections, no gamakas. So how would the plain notes go? Sa re ga pa ni sa sa ni pa ga re sa. So once you're confident about the plain notes version, then you can apply the appropriate gamakas. So with gamakas, it would sound like this. Sa re ga pa ni sa sa ni pa ga re sa. So as you can see, the gamakas are not applied on each and every note, right? Every note behaves differently based on the raga. So in the full course, I will explain to you in detail how each note behaves in the Arohanam and the Avarohanam. So now once you're comfortable with the Arohanam and Avarohanam, now you are ready to start singing the krithi. Now while singing the krithi, the most important concept you should know is called Sangathis. What do you mean by Sangathi? A Sangathi is a variation of a particular line. So for example, if we take a line like this, the first Sangathi will be a very simple one, like Parvati Patim Pranaumi Satatam. And then the second Sangathi will be more complex, like Parvati Patim Pranaumi Satatam. So did you see how the words were the same, but the tune was different, right? Now some krithis will have only 2 or 3 Sangathis, but some krithis can have even 10 to 12 Sangathis, right? But the basic concept remains the same, that the first Sangathi will be a very simple one, and then gradually it will get more and more complex and interesting. Now comes the next question. How do we develop clarity in our Sangathis? Because every Sangathi has the same words. So how do you remember the tune of every Sangathi? How do you remember the flow of the notes exactly? Now some people remember this just by listening many times. So they keep listening to it 10-20 times and ultimately it goes and registers. Similar to how we learn a movie song, for example, right? We keep playing it again and again and it goes and settles at some point. So that is one way of doing it. But the other way, which I recommend, especially for Carnatic music, is to translate every phrase into swaras. So for example, if there is a phrase like Parvati Patim Pranaumi
satatam.
You should be able to translate it as
Pani sani pagari sari gani pagari sari sa.
Okay. Now why should we do this? There are two benefits. One benefit is, since you know the swaras, you will never go out of pitch, right? Because usually swaras are associated with a certain pitch of notes, but words are not, right? So when we translate them into swaras, we become more aware of the pitch of each note. And second benefit is, when we are learning a kriti, we are not only learning it as a song, we are also trying to understand the raga better, right? So only if we translate the swaras, we will understand what are the kind of phrases getting created in the raga. How are the gamakas being used? Which note can have gamaka, which note cannot have gamaka? And how does the different types of gamakas work for that raga? All that you will know only when you translate it into a known language, which is swaras. So in this course, I am going to give you the chance to identify the notes of every phrase, and after that, I will tell you what is the correct answer. So you can check whether you have identified correctly. Okay, but remember one thing, this identifying notes is something you should try on your own. Don't ask your teacher for ready-made notations. That is not going to help you. That is going to make your ear very lazy and very weak. Okay, so if you want your ear to be very sharp, then you have to do this exercise of trying to identify notes. But if you are finding it difficult to identify notes of a kriti, then it means you need to go one step back and work on your basic ear training. Okay, so there are a lot of basic ear training courses also on the app. So you can parallelly pursue that so that your ear gets a little sharper, and after that you can come back and try to decode the kriti. So once you have identified the swaras, then comes the next step of breaking down the gamakas. So let's take a Sangathi like this, for example.
Parvatarajanut padambujam.
So how do we break down the gamakas of this Sangathi? Let us take phrase by phrase. Okay, so the first phrase is
Parvata sani pa.
Right? So observe the first sa.
Sa.
So it is actually gliding from pa itself. So
sa.
Right? And then
Ni pa.
The ni is gliding from sa.
Ni. Ni pa.
Pa is plain. Then the next phrase.
Raja Gari.
See, ga has such a detailed oscillation.
Gari.
Re is a simple glide, right? So in this manner, we are going to break down each and every phrase. We are going to analyze the gamakas, and only once you are very comfortable with this, we will combine it and sing continuously. And once you are comfortable with the phrases, then we will move on to the talam. So talam is also equally important when you are singing a kriti, right? And also we will focus a lot on your vocal technique. So I will explain many points about how to sing a particular phrase beautifully, right? How to use the right akaram technique, how to control your breath properly, how to sing the upper notes, lower notes, right? So there are many aspects of vocal skills that also we will discuss in this course. Hope you enjoyed this introduction and are excited to start this journey with me. So to get the full course, please subscribe to it on the VoxGuru app. It is available both on Android and iOS. So let us explore the world of kritis together.